Welcome to Lead Where You Live, Tucson Voices in Leadership. I'm Jamie Leon-Guerrero.
And I'm Raysun. This podcast is all about real people leading with heart in our community.
We believe leadership isn't about titles, it's about action. And Tucson is full of people making a difference in big and small ways.
Join us as we chat with inspiring voices who are showing up, stepping up, and shaping Tucson's future.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to Lead Where You Live podcast. I'm Raysun.
And I'm Jamie Leon-Guerrero.
This time of year invites reflection, the kind that reminds us why Tucson feels like home and how gratitude connects us as leaders and neighbors.
So today we're turning the mics on ourselves for a little Tucson-style gratitude. What grounds us here, what inspires us, and the small moments that remind us that leadership starts right where we live.
And instead of interviewing a guest this time, we're slowing things down and sharing a few reflections of our own about Tucson, community, and this season of giving.
All right, so let's just get into it with questions about this place we call home. So where does the name Tucson come from?
Well, I think this is an awesome question, Jamie. Just like we do with our podcast guests, right? Where our names come from tells us so much about the history of and the culture of an area or a person. And so for Tucson, I think a lot of people tend to not know, or it gets forgotten, that Tucson actually originates from the Tohono peoples. And it comes from a word that means the base of the Black Hill. And it was, let me know if you know any better way to pronounce this, but the best I can say is Tucson. And it really referred to the Sentinel Peak.
A mountain.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
Black Hill.
That
Gotcha.
was because of the black rocks that are found at the base of the hill. And so that is what they named this area for when they lived here, when they settled here originally. And as time went on, this area was actually colonized by the Spanish peoples, who then changed the name to Tucson.
Do you think too, from what I'm remembering, what I've learned is like a mountain or that Black Hill also was like a lookout. So that was like a great place for the Tohono people to kind of see what was coming at them and kind of prepare. So I'm remembering that too about that. But I always, for some reason, I always thought it was like a CH, like a Chuckson. I don't know why. But
Yeah, no, I think the
I don't know.
original, the original Tohono spelling, I believe, does have like maybe a TC or something like
I thought
that.
it was like a Chuckson. But I do love how it derives from
Tucson,
that.
Tucson. Yeah. And of course, over time, it was anglicized to just Tucson. But it makes sense that people, when they first see it, if you don't know how it's currently pronounced, just by the way it's written, people think it's Tucson.
Which is the right way to
Tucson.
Tucson,
Which would be actually closer to the original word that it comes from, right?
Yeah, we had
that's so
someone
interesting.
in the class, the interviewing for the Lead Tucson class, who during her interview, she was brand new to Tucson. And she was just like, I'm new to Tucson. And we were like, don't change it. Like, you're saying it right. We're all saying it wrong. Keep that. Like, don't change it. That is probably the closest thing to the right way to say it. She was like, really? Yes. So I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I also think it's pretty interesting that just historically, I think a lot of people, we actually have a large reservation here. Arizona, I think, has some of the largest numbers of Indigenous peoples living on their reservation, their land here. And I think people don't realize how much of the land, that we live on has very distinct history, and that's often forgotten. I think actually Mount Lemmon is another one of those that was, and I don't know off the top of my head the story behind it, but I do recall there's some similar aspects to that where it actually does have a specific name, and that eventually it was anglicized by people who colonized it, who then called it Mount Lemmon. It's not its historical name.
I think even like Tumamoc has like a village up there that's like an archaeological site.
Yes.
I don't know how to, I do know the translation of it pretty much means like horn-tailed lizard, like, was the
Mhm.
name of that mountain because that's the stories from the people there, just there was a bunch of horn-tailed lizards up there. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just love it when you find out all these little gems about where we live. It's just kinda cool, and I love that it ties back to the original peoples that have been here forever.
Yes. And since this is really an episode about gratitude, I think I want to challenge all of our listeners out there just to take a moment to be, grateful for the people who did originally settle this land and maybe to take some time to find out where you're located, where your piece of property is located, where you're living, whether you're renting or own, and who are the original indigenous peoples, and to just take a moment to be grateful for those people that really paved the way for us to be able to be here today.
Yeah.
Our next question is going along that question of gratitude. And this is really about what fills you with gratitude and keeps you rooted here in Tucson.
Ooh, so many things. Well, just the world's a little wild right now, so the first thing that came to my head was the gratitude that I can afford to live here as a single person, m and I know things are rough, right, everywhere, but I do think that I'm so grateful that I am able to own a home and be okay here as a single person.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are struggling right now, so, like, in this moment where I'm at today, I'm very grateful that I have all of the things that I need, and it's still scary, like, how is all of this stuff gonna affect me? I hope, and also that community that I do think, should I struggle, I can lean. So, I'm gonna keep it there. Very, like, I'm grateful for where I live, like, just Tucson, because it is I know it's not fun for renters or whatever, and, like, the buying right now where it's at is rough, but I'm just saying, I do think and I'm not an expert, but I think we're pretty good compared to other places, so I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned community, and there are definitely, I think, the two things about Tucson that I have a lot of gratitude for, and that keeps me here. The first one is what brought me here, and that was the nature. I think that Tucson is special in that it's unique because we are interwoven so much with nature. Just last night, actually, it was funny. My spouse came home and said one of our neighbors put a pumpkin out in their front yard. I don't think they realize what's gonna happen. And sure enough, our dog started going crazy last night around 7:30. Just wild, would not stop. We had to lock him inside the house. And finally, I was trying to get some work done before dinner, and right before dinner, and I asked my son to go take our dog outside. Just go take him out. Maybe he'll settle down. Sometimes it's, another dog or just a smell in the air or something that kind of stirs him up. But he went outside, and literally 2 seconds later, my son comes back inside and he's like, "There are 30 javelinas out there all over everybody's yards, in front of people's doorsteps." And I was like, "Oh, it's the pumpkin," right? It's so cool to me that there's just really our communities, doesn't matter where you are. You can find javelina because of the washes and just the way in which Tucson is really integrated. And even though we're a larger city, we just have somehow managed to avoid that huge city isolation from nature. And
Mhm.
it's really that piece that I feel like is really grounding to me. I feel really connected to nature, and that's something that's important to me. And it's something very special about Tucson. Whether it's the javelinas, don't put pumpkins outside, y'all. Not real ones, or put them up where they can't get them. Or whether it's, the fact that we can be so close to so many different environments for hiking or being outside. But yeah, I really do. I feel a lot of gratitude for nature and the desert, and the way in which Tucson has been created and built as a city.
Yeah, I love that. And when we think about gratitude, we also think about generosity, which kind of leads us to our next question about where do we see kind of generosity and like giving show up most powerfully in our community?
Yeah, I think we've mentioned it a couple times, but for on our podcast before. But if you haven't seen those episodes or you don't know this fact, Tucson has the largest nonprofit to capita two person ratio in the United States, and
Mhm.
I think that is just phenomenal because I really do feel like In order to start a nonprofit, someone has to be passionate about helping others. Doesn't matter what the nonprofit is. And I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it, right? That we have so many people who just want to help that they
Mhm.
have started a nonprofit for that purpose. And that to me is, I think, where we see so much generosity, and it's so powerful in our community because you have all of these people, all of these nonprofits seeing all these holes in our society and ways to help others. And it doesn't matter what it is, from helping teens to helping seniors to helping parents or moms, or to helping those who have disadvantages or who have disabilities. Like, there's just so many different ways in which it shows up, and I think that's truly powerful in our Tucson community.
When I think of generosity, I mean, I'm in development, so I'm surrounded by generous and generosity all the time. But I really do, it's a superpower. I think when you think of philanthropy and generosity, like, right, the definition at its base of philanthropy is just like the love of humankind. So when you think about that, man, it truly is a superpower. And when we think of generosity and giving, I think a lot of people tie that to dollars or money. And I don't have a lot of that. But you have to think about, like, can you donate like your talent? Are you really good at something that you can donate to a nonprofit or an org that you calls to your heart? Your treasure, if you have it, right? So that's where the financial generosity comes in. What is it? Talent, treasure. Oh my
Time?
gosh, the three.
Time?
Time, so you can volunteer, but there's always one that people forget too, is your ties. So if you don't have time to volunteer, if you don't have the financial ability to give, um, and maybe you're just like talented out, like you just all day long you get paid to do that because you're amazing at whatever you do. Your ties, though, if you are connected, again, we talk about community, right? And connections and those relationships. If you have a tie, a connection to someone who you think, man, I really think you'd be great at giving one of those things, connect that organization with your friend or that connection, because those go a long way, right? So I think when we think about all the moments that we give for all and the time, um, they really add up. So you don't need to donate a lot of money. You don't need to have a lot of time, but just like remembering that, again, there are a plethora of nonprofits that need our help. And in any way that we can give back, that's a superpower, no matter how big. Again, whatever is kind of significant to you goes a really long way. And I love that about this community. Like, you really are, there's a bunch of generosity superheroes out in the world.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the ties or the connection piece, because that is also one of the themes, that being a connector, that we've seen show up for a number of people in relationship to leadership. And
Hmm.
that brings us to our next question, which is,
Yeah.
what does gratitude have to do with leadership?
Ooh, oh my, everything, I think. Right? I mean, like, when we do that, when we have guests on the phone, right? Or we on our podcast and we're talking about leadership with them, it's like communication and networking and all of this stuff. But like, all of those things matter. I don't know. I think it matters more so more now than ever. I really do. I don't even know how to put it into words. I just think, again, back to our questions above, right? Being grateful for what we have, what we can give. Like, I think when we take it in a lens, just it makes it feel a little less heavy. I think when you come at it from a lens of gratitude, whatever you're experiencing, I think if you come at it with the lens of gratitude, can take a little bit of the weight off. If that makes sense to anybody listening or watching, just we have so much to be grateful for.
Yes. And I think, you've sort of highlighted this a little bit, but one thing that none of our people or guests, and I doubt we will ever have a guest on who says that they're a great leader because they're negative.
Mhm.
And I think that there is no way to be positive if you don't have gratitude, and if you don't have a way to celebrate and be thankful for even just the small things that happen every day, right? Without gratitude, I feel like the only thing left is negative leadership.
Right.
And that's just not the way people show up, right?
Right.
I often hear from people that when you're talking about, what do you love about the coach or your mentor or your boss, or like what makes them good? You know, I would say overarching one of those things is that they get positive feedback for small moments, not just big things. right? Not just big celebrations like, oh, we reached this, sales goal, or oh, we reached, this donor goal, or whatever it is, but just that recognition for small things. And I
Mhm.
think that comes from those habits of being grateful, habits of having gratitude for the small things in your life versus just the really big things.
And I think when we talk about gratitude when it comes to leadership is like being grateful that you can experience some maybe difficult challenges, but those are opportunities. Like everyone we've talked to, or no matter who you meet, no one's perfect, but gratitude in leadership shows up that, like, okay, I have this opportunity to be better. So I'm a better leader next time, whether in whatever capacity that leadership shows up in your life. I really,
Absolutely.
yeah, like be
Yeah.
grateful that you have the opportunity to even become better. Like that's something.
Or in this moment, being grateful that you have a job, being grateful that you have people who want to work with you.
Mhm.
There's so many different ways. And then when it ties back to that leadership, I think all of the people that we have interviewed couldn't be really good leaders if they weren't thankful for the people that were working for them or with them, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it really does have ties in so many different ways.
Mhm.
Just to appreciate what you have is really the base of gratitude,
Yeah.
right?
And when we're talking about gratitude and you kind of use the word appreciate, like also being thankful, right? So again, perfect tie in for our next question of kind of like what's the one thing Tucson does really well that we're thankful for? Like I feel like in your world, you're super connected to the community. I think like again, we are connected through kind of our little communities we're mutually members of. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, well, and that is, I think, a really great way to go, something that I'm thankful for, and that is that Tucson really does have that small town feel in a big city. My impression, everyone has their different definition of what maybe a small town is, but I actually grew up in a small town. And one of the stereotypes that you will hear that I personally feel like is probably true is that everybody knows everybody in a small town, right?
Mhm.
And even though Tucson is a big city, I am thankful for the fact that there are so many connections. And to me, that connector piece that, well, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody is something I'm thankful for because I feel like that is part of how Tucson doesn't stay isolated in their little bitty sectors,
Mhm.
right? That
Mhm.
there are so many different ways and opportunities for people to be connected across whatever their boundaries are, and that's what helps create that small town feel,
Yeah.
even though it's such a large community. So I'm very thankful for that, for the small town feel, which for me, it has to do with those connections and relationships
Yeah.
that Tucson has that culture for. And I think that's something Tucson does really well.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off of your answer to our first questions because like I'm really thankful for like that nature aspect. I think Tucson does that, so like the city does that piece so well. It's like one of the most biodiverse environments in the southern region. I
Mhm.
learned that like our saguaro national parks are like they only grow in this area, but 40% of that of where they grow is like in the southern region, but like
Uh-huh.
the other 60 is like in Mexico. So like there's so much more of that ecosystem on the other side, but we get this little piece, and I just think you can't find that anywhere else in the world. You have to come here for that. And just our sunrises and our sunsets and the weather. Like, yes, it's hot here. I would never want to be an outside laborer at all in the summertime. I don't know how they do it. I don't even know how that's why we even do that. Like, they should just schedule it like school. We only work when it's not hot. But, anyways, I just think I think it's manageable, like, summers and our winters are great. They're not too cold. Every once in a while, we get snow, and I think that's fun. I just think we can drive 45 minutes up to Mount Lemon and be in aspen trees and that kind of Pacific Northwest feel, right? Like at Marshall Gulch.
Mhm.
I just like, man, and it's beautiful. One of the reasons why I stayed. And if I'm being honest here, I'm thankful for outside because I found my love for the outdoors here. And it is 100% part of like me staying, like, mentally healthy and recharging and grounded, and, like, without that outside, I don't know if I would've stayed here, if I'm being honest. I don't know if I would have bought my home here, so I'm really, really thankful for the accessibility to this gorgeous piece of land that we are just temporary inhabitants of, and I'm just so happy that, like, I picked Tucson to live out the rest of my years.
And, we talked about the natural environment a lot, but also, Tucson actually has quite a number of parks. I
Yeah,
don't know the stats. I don't know if it has more parks compared to other areas or not, but I do feel like that there are quite a number of parks all over and throughout, more managed areas as well. And I do know that Tucson also related to that. We're actually perfect timing for this episode. We're coming on one of the largest bicycling events.
yeah,
The whole tour, right, is held
yeah,
here in Tucson, so I think Tucson does really well with also some fairly large national events, which is kind
yeah,
of surprising, like, it's not in Phoenix, it's here in Tucson,
yeah.
right?
That's
El
happening,
Tour,
like,
the
next
gym
weekend?
show, yeah, it is, it'll be right, exactly, and, the gym show
Mhm.
is another large national event. I'm sure there are others out there. Those are the 2 I'm most familiar with.
I know
Um,
another one, but I'm saving
yeah,
it for our next
you're
question.
saving for okay, 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 good.
You
Um,
you 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 had, like, things going in my head while you're talking, so
right,
I'm like,
right,
"Ooh."
yeah, yeah. So I actually again, that goes back to those communities, those connections, those tie-ins to nature, so I really appreciate that aspect, and I'm thankful for that as well.
Yeah,
And so I'm gonna go straight to the next question
yeah.
since you got something for us, which is, when you think about the holiday season in Tucson, what community traditions or events come to mind that reflect gratitude and togetherness?
One that comes to mind is our big Dia de los Muertos parade. That's an like, people from all over the world come here to
Yes.
be part of this huge parade and gathering, and it's a beautiful event. I love it. It actually got moved into, like, the start of, like, my area of town, so, like, sometimes I get blocked into my house, which I don't love, because people just park right in front of my driveway, and I'm like, but that is one of the I do when I think of holidays, I think that's, like, the Kickstarter, right? Because that's, like, the beginning of November, the Dia de los Muertos parade, and then it kinda kicks off all of those other things, and I think
Mhm.
that's the kickoff, and then we do a really good we have, like, the tree lighting ceremonies, kind of like Marana, like, all of them have their own little thing. Downtown Tucson has that too, and, like, the what is it? Winterhaven. That's
Yeah,
probably a
yeah.
big community tradition, which I hope stays because I know, I think it was the city? Was it the city of Tucson?
They've lost some funding
They
from the
lost some
city of
funding,
Tucson.
so I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
the community, when we think about holiday traditions, I hope we figure out as a community on how to keep that tradition going because I think that's just like what everyone does. We're gonna go to Winterhaven and get hot
Yeah,
chocolate and walk around and see all of these cool, beautiful homes. Yeah.
and yeah, no, no, I totally agree, and that one I think also is one of these are some of the things that create that connection, that togetherness that we've been talking about, and that's one of them that has been free with some donations. They want you to bring donations to help support nonprofits, again, doing really awesome things from a community perspective. I actually have lived here 5 years, and the first time I went to Winter Haven was last year. So, I'm not a huge crowds person, so I tend to avoid, and for some reason, it happened last year. It worked out timing-wise, and I was like, "Okay, let's go. I should see what everybody's talking about." And it was pretty amazing to see the diversity of different, like, I don't know what I was thinking, that I would just see, like, a bunch of houses decorated in just, like, all the same stuff, and I was surprised at the diversity of what was represented. And so if you have not gone, I would really suggest you, because there's, really is, it stretches your imagination about what counts as holiday celebration.
Yeah.
And, that was a big surprise and awesomeness for me as well. And then, there's also, I think the thing that surprised me, I'm from the East Coast, and we do have, like, tree lighting ceremonies and, some other things, but I was actually surprised at the number of lighted events that happen in Tucson. And maybe it's because the weather is so awesome and everybody wants to be outside, so it's the
Yeah.
perfect time to do things. But I've really enjoyed in the past, and some of these things aren't free. They do require tickets and stuff, but I do remember that Tohono Chools during COVID,
Ooh,
they kept their light festival. It was the first time I had been to it, and, they had to follow the rules. There's only a certain number of people allowed. You had to wear masks when you were in lines, that kind of things, but that was the first time I'd gone, and I really just appreciated it that it wasn't just walking with lights in the desert,
did
there
you get
was
the 3D
music.
glasses at the Tohono Chul? If
I
you
don't
walk through with 3D glasses, it just looks like,
Oh, no, I've not done that.
oh my god, yeah, you have to bring 3D glasses.
But all the lights and the fact that they bring in so many other things to it, like small
Mhm.
businesses, local vendors, music,
Yeah,
shows.
yeah,
It's just an experience, right? And I know they're not the only place that does that, the Reed Park Zoo does it. Like, there are just so many different places
yeah.
that, to me, I think, again, this is kinda what Tucson does really well about the holidays, right? Because it's such great weather, everyone wants to be out and about, there's all these amazing events to go to.
I wonder if it's also, like, we don't spend a lot of money on maintaining grass because, like, not a lot of us have grass, but, like, we will light up our city
Uh,
to be festive for
right,
whatever
yes,
holiday you
yes,
celebrate. Like,
yes,
it is
yes,
a festive it's a festive town, and I really love that.
yes, absolutely.
Let's hit each other with some rapid fire questions and just, like, this or that real quick, top of mind. Alright? Yes or no's and stuff.
Okay,
Okay,
we're
let's hit
ready.
it. Turkey or tamales?
Oh, turkey, pie or flan?
Pie. Sabino Canyon sunrise or holiday parade of lights downtown?
Oh, it's gonna have to be Sabino Canyon sunrise for me.
Mhm. Hmm.
Gratitude list or gratitude hike?
Gratitude hike for sure. Shops local on Small Business Saturday or support a nonprofit on Giving Tuesday? That was
Oh,
hard.
no, you're making the choice really hard. Both?
Yeah, both. Tohono Chul's holiday nights with 3D glasses. Favorite local holiday food? What do you got? Like pozole, tamales? What's your favorite
Local.
food?
Oh my gosh, now you're making me hungry. I guess. Okay, wait. I don't know if this counts as a holiday food, but it's got cinnamon and it's hot, so I'm gonna go with it. It's the drink I had the last time we got together at the restaurant, the Mexican restaurant, the coffee with the cinnamon,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh.
coffee ole.
Cafe de O Cafe de Ora. Oh my gosh, it's Cafe de something. But yes,
Yes,
yes.
if you're watching, chime in. Tell us
Cafe
what
de
it is.
Olla.
There you go.
Cafe
Thank you.
I'm
That's it.
like, that's a
Mount Lemon snow day or desert holiday hike.
desert holiday hike, and I have 100% had, like, Christmas and New Year's hikes with snow on the ground in Sabino Canyon, so you can kind of have snow depending on when you go hiking. I have to
Yep,
both
yep.
that's both words. Do you send holiday cards or skip them?
Want to send holiday cards. Does that count?
Yes. It's the thought that
It's
counts.
the God that counts. Volunteer shift during the holidays or donate quietly behind the scenes.
Volunteer, definitely, 100%, and if you ever wanna do one, um, at the Z Mansion, they do, like, a holiday breakfast for the unhoused, so I that's usually where you'll find me is actually, like, handing out food.
Love that. Good
Plugging.
plug there too. Yes, no, yes, love it.
Favorite public Tucson holiday event you've ever attended?
I'm gonna have to go with Tohono Schools during COVID because they limited the number of people inside. I already mentioned I don't love huge events with tons of people.
Mhm.
What Tucson neighborhood? Well, we've already answered this, but we had to make sure what Tucson neighborhood
Yeah.
has the best holiday lights.
I know we can all say Winterhaven, but I will say that, like, if you go into, like, the little barrios, you'll find
Mhm.
little pockets, like, in Dunbar Springs, like, they've got little pockets of, like, these old, old homes that are just lit up, so I think pick a neighborhood. There's I don't know. I
Yeah.
I love them all. I love it all.
Okay.
Do
And
you
no, I just wanna add to this because we haven't mentioned it. I just wanna make sure it's out there whether or not y'all celebrate Santa as part of your traditions or not. I will say that it's very unique to Tucson. So if you're listening to this and you wouldn't have ever thought about this, people actually take Santa hats and put them on top of saguaros in their yards. And it was very surprising for these to start showing up. So I thought I'd throw that out there while we're talking about holiday traditions.
I'll just really quickly add that's actually to protect the saguaros because the
Is it
tops
really?
will freeze. So you'll see people put like big styrofoam big gulp cups on top too. It's just to kind of protect them,
Oh.
like how on deep freeze nights when you cover your plants, if you
Hmm.
put hats or stockings or whatever on top of your saguaros, it helps them from like the tops freezing.
See, I learned something new. If you're listening, hopefully some of you out there did too. Love
I
it.
didn't know
Well,
that
maybe
either. I was
we'll.
like,
I love the stocking idea. Maybe I could poop.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
you'll just see
love it,
some.
love it.
It's supposed to just help them during a deep freeze or like when it gets really cold. So,
Awesome.
do you
All right.
prefer hosting or being a guest during the holidays?
If my house is clean, I prefer hosting. Love doing something for others, so I love that. But if my house isn't clean, then yeah, I'm happy to go to somebody else's. Hot cocoa or champorado?
On Guam, we call it champolado. It's the same thing. It's chocolate rice, and if you make it like Mexican style, like spiced up, like the Mexican hot chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a combination of both. So it's like champolado, but like Mexican
Uh,
hot chocolate.
Lovely, yummy. I mean, maybe we'll have to make that dish together.
Yeah.
Give me the recipe.
Best place in Tucson to reflect or reset before the new year.
Well, I love Sabino Canyon, so I
Hmm.
would say that's got to be my spot.
Yeah,
Holiday shopping at 4th Avenue Winter Street Fair or a quiet local boutique.
I love the street fair, but I try to only shop at the local vendor booths because while I love everyone who goes there, I try to support the local vendors in this big event that brings in hundreds of thousands of people. So, one word that captures your holiday season vibe this year.
This year, okay, holiday season vibe this year. Reset. What about you? Let's get you to answer that one.
Who, one word. Thankful. I'm just, yeah, I really am. I'm in this also thankful that the year's almost over.
What is your favorite hidden gem, Tucson tradition, or spot that you're thankful for?
Goodness, the Stone House on the Yetman Trail. If you know about it, you know about it, and it could be all of the places that you need it to be for whatever. The Stone House, the Bowen Stone House.
Love it.
White lights or colorful lights?
White lights. Peppermint or cinnamon?
Cinnamon. And ugly holiday sweater or dressy holiday outfits?
Ooh, um, dressy holiday outfit. I don't think I've ever owned a ugly holiday sweater category. Yeah, I'm all about like an opportunity to dress up out of my normal clothing.
I have been in this like ugly sweater dress phase and like I don't care. I show up with these really funky weird dresses and it's yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for doing this lightning round of questions with us all about the holiday and gratitude season. So, we are going to end with what are you grateful for this season?
I am grateful for family and chosen family. Yep, that's me. What about you?
Well, I would say the same thing, but I am actually also going to say that I am grateful for resilience.
Ooh,
I think that to me, I said I was going to reset this year, but a lot of that just comes down to life is hard for a lot of us.
mhm,
And without resilience, I think it's really difficult to make it through. So I'm very
mhm.
grateful for that this season.
That's why I got it tattooed on my arm to just remember, like,
Love it. Love it.
this has
And if
been
you're
so
out
much
there,
fun.
it has been a lot of fun. And if you've been watching this episode, if you're seeing a little clip on it, or if you're on YouTube or Spotify, feel free to jump in and tell us what you're grateful for or how you think gratitude shows up in leadership. We'd love to have some communication from you. And Jamie, I am also grateful for this podcast.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy we started this. Like, it brings me
Yeah.
so much joy. Like, yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting
Yeah.
me to join you on this journey. I'm thankful for you and this podcast as well.
And if you're listening, we are still have a few couple spots left for our next episode. Or if you're listening to this a year from now and you're thinking, I would love to be on this, you don't have to have a fancy title to your name.
Mhm.
We truly believe every single person is a leader wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now. And we want to highlight that and lift you up. So please reach out to us, send us a DM or connect with us and an email, whatever you'd like to do. And let's get you on our show. Have a wonderful holiday season, everyone.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Lead Where You Live. We hope you're feeling inspired by our guest's story and the impact they're making right here in Tucson.
If you love this conversation, help us spread the word. Share this episode, subscribe on YouTube, and tag a local leader who should be featured next.
Because leadership starts with showing up, and we know Tucson is full of incredible people doing just that.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Lead Where You Live.